Good evening, lovely tubers. White Mexican back in with another video. I just wanted to shoot this really quick. I was on shift today and I was able to have some free time to kind of just roughly dig up some cards here that may be of interest. The majority of this video here is going to be for my personal picks for collector's value for artwork, but there is a few kind of random cards here that I wanted to throw in here, like infinite cards here. There's two prints, one from Shining Victories and one for the 2017 Megatins. This card's dirt cheap right now. I kind of have a few questions about this. I've never really played this card in a real duel or played it online or anything like that. I'm kind of have a few questions about how exactly this works. Like, if you play this first, you go first and you play this, you slap this on the board, and then you pass to your opponent. Obviously they're going to start out with 6 cards. Do they automatically, at the beginning of their turn, do they have to pitch 3? Or as soon as you slap this card on board, when they have 5 cards in their hand going second, do they have to automatically pitch 2? I'm not really sure. I want to kind of look into the justification, the ruling on this, because it'd be really interesting to figure out how that works. The way I would make sense to me is that, this would be a really powerful card going first. If you were lucky enough to get to go first, you slap this on board, its effect activates, it's good, and then your opponent pitches 2, and then when they draw 1, they have to essentially pitch another one because the hand size limit would be automatically 3. Anyway, I just think this is a really obscure card, and it kind of has like a lot of like different things that can go into its ruling and how it actually resolves, how it works. But this card is, depending on what you're playing, like if somehow if Eternities come back, or you're playing some kind of like controlled deck where you really don't have a hand a lot of the time, I think this is just a complete blowout floodgate card. Unfortunately, it is only common, so there's not really too much room for this to really go up in too much value because it is the lowest rarity in the game, and there is quite a few on the market with there being 2 prints. But again, I just think this is a card that really no one looks at, and I think, if they find a way to kind of pull it off, I think this can be a ridiculously strong card. Moving on here, this is kind of a card I forgot about because they changed the name when Savage Strike came out. I mean, it was originally called something else, like it normally is when you're playing, on this guy right here. But most people, to my understanding, I'm pretty sure this is used in Thunder Dragons, if I'm not mistaken. I've never personally used this card. I think it's a really good card. I think it has a lot of potential. It is another common card, so it's easily accessible, and it's really cheap. Maybe one day they'll make a higher rarity, but again, this is just kind of one of those obscure cards that I just kind of wanted to poke at really quick. Moving on, I'm going to be getting into the kind of like artwork cards that I think are going to go up or break through into the collector's market, or may have already started. Some of these for sure definitely have broken into the collector's market. The first 2 here, Witch the Black Forest and Magician of Faith. I'm specifically talking about the hollow version. So for Witch, the Battle of Legend, Light Revenge Ultra, and specifically for Magician of Faith, the Duelist Saga. Of course, you have the super hard to get, super rare Old School Champion Pack 2, which is just ridiculously rare and a lot of money too. But more specifically, I want to be talking about the Duelist Saga Ultra Rare. These are kind of lower, like the lower priority on my like collector's list. They're not really gained popular yet, but they are some really badass female cards that are really old school, have a lot of like power plays, like in the first generation of the game, and potentially can go up when the well dries up a little bit more. That's just my personal opinion. Again, these are kind of low priority for collector's artwork. Kind of potential value, but moving on here, we're going to go on to some more kind of noticeable cards here. I'm talking about True Brush from the Underworld. I know there's several prints of this, but I'm specifically talking about the highest rarity, which is from Order of Chaos, and of course exclusively first edition. Now there is one here for just under $5, and another one over here which is about $5 here as well, a little under. But the most part after that, it goes up to 6, and it starts to go up to 7 over on the next page. I am on the second page here because the first page, the last time I checked, did not have any first editions. There is no first editions. But if you look at it, there's only 3 pages of this card. So several months ago, maybe like a year ago, there was tons of this card on the market, and slowly it started to get eaten away and eaten away. To me, myself included, I did buy several of these, exclusively the first editions, because what do we have here? We have Tour Guide from the Underworld, an extremely popular and infamous female card. It's a really powerful card, has a lot of good history, and it's a really strong card that saw a lot of play when it originally came out. When it was at 3, it was such a powerful card. You know, Dark World and Burning Abyss, and it's just an all-around, I think it's right up there. I think Tour Guide from the Underworld is right up there with, Injection Fairy Lily and Dark Magician Girl, and, definitely part of the top tier. But over here, we have Tour Bus from the Underworld, which is literally, to me, in my opinion, it's just kind of like an alternate artwork. It's kind of like another angle of Tour Guide. If you look at here, the Tour Guide artwork, and you look at Tour Bus, it's really cool how over here it has kind of the zombie soul. This is another card. I forget what its name is. There's actually an FTK kind of running around here with the new zombie horde structure deck and this card. And anyway, just amazing artwork. If I was to pick, Tour Guide is beautiful. Everyone knows it, but even this artwork even more so. Just the both foilings of the secret look great, but I really enjoy the artwork with the bus. You can see the detail of the monsters here in the bus, and you can see the ghost souls and the zombie mountain thing over here. It's just very beautiful foiling. And Order of Chaos is a really old set. I think it was Extreme Victory was where the original tour guide came out. That's even older. But again, I think this is kind of just like a alternative version of tour guide when it comes to its collector value and its artwork purposes. It's not nearly as playable as tour guide, of course, not as strong, but it's just something to consider because there's only let's see here, there's no first editions on the first page, only 3 pages available left on the market, at least for this site, and there's 2 here, both for about $5 each, and then it moves into about 531, and then almost about $6, so that's 4, and then we have some ones here for around $6. All these are around 6, and then this moves to about 7. And that's it, and it's gone. First edition, secret rare, tour bus is gone. So I know I've personally invested in this card. I've bought quite a high amount of these over the last year, and I've noticed that the numbers are dwindling, so I believe that this could potentially be entering a collector's market. Moving on, one of the most infamous cards, Injection Fairy Lily, of course. It's got, the really good, sexy artwork here and the hearts and the beautiful classic old secret rare foiling from Legacy of Darkness. Primarily focusing on the first editions, of course. We got a little bit more on the market here, but roughly around the same as Tour Bus, about 3 pages. The first page falls through with no first editions. Moving on here to the second page, first edition, the first edition that we find lightly played is around $16, which is about right, which is about average. I started collecting this card about a year to 2 years ago, roughly, for my personal collection, and I was buying mine for like 11s. 11 was kind of like the solid price point, so it hasn't gone up too much here compared to this low listing one. But it quickly and very quickly, you can see here, the second first edition moves into almost $23, and then it moves to $25. Again, we're already on the third page, which is the last page, which there's not that many. These are all ones of, and it bottoms out at almost $40. You got 38 over here, 35. So it just gets in the 30s very quickly. So again, this is just an old school first generation nostalgic card. Beautiful, gorgeous artwork. It's an anime card. It's a female card. It's not really playable anymore. It never really saw too much play, even like when it first came out, that I can recall. But it is just, hands down, definitely, in my opinion, one of the top female artwork cards in the game, and it's just a very popular card. And I think it has a huge, and it is already kind of seeing, as you see, collector market value. Moving on, I talked about this in one of my earlier videos, kind of in a more obscure card. Really trashy card, really no playability. This whole kind of set, the Gagagas, never really went anywhere. Another card from Order of Chaos as well. Solo print secret rare. Well, not solo print because there's a super rare reprint, of course, but of course, first edition secret rare is the only thing we're really talking about specifically for the secret rares here, and first page holds no first editions. A little bit more on this one, 4 pages. Moving on to the second page here, We have one first edition at the bottom here. They have two for 350, which I think this is a pretty good. It's pretty good. Three of these, you know, you can get two of these for $7, 7 bones. This is pretty good. Again, this is kind of like my me talking about Tour Guide, how Tour Guide's really popular, and she's one of the top tier girls. And then Tour Bus is kind of like her like sidekick here. That's what I think is what's happening here, or is gonna happen pretty soon here with Gaga Girl. We have Dark Magician Girl, which is extremely popular. You know, the Magician's Force Secret Rare, which is just ridiculous. It's probably one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive female card that we have in the game, and the artwork is just phenomenal. My personal opinion, I don't like the TCG Dark Magician Girl. I think it's so stupid looking. It's completely inferior to the OCG. The OCG has, you know, the Black Star Magic in between the breast. It has the bust, and it just looks just so much better. I would never invest a cent in the English TCG and Dark Magician Girl. I just think it looks so horrendous compared to the Japanese OCG. The original artwork is just so much better and stays so much true to the original artwork of the card, as do many OCG cards. But I'm not going to go too much into that than I already have. I'm just saying I think this is kind of the same. She kind of looks like Dark Magician Girl, based off her artwork and her clothing, and she's a spellcaster, a dark, you know, all that stuff. So, um, there's two here for 350, and then moving into page 3, there's a couple more here, and then it easily jumps up to around 4 to 5, and it hovers around 4, and then on the fourth page here, and those mostly one-ofs that I saw. So there's one first edition here, one. This one has 3 for $4 plus 49 shipping. So there's a couple very small walls here. And the last page jumps up to around $6, and then bottoms out at around $8, $9. And these are all one-ofs besides this one. So very easily a buyout target. I don't think one person would buy this out because it's kind of expensive to buy out one. But then again, it's not really at a point where it's not unaffordable to buy out. I feel like anyone with a job could really buy this out and really control the market on this. And again, like I said, it's not going to see any play. It's a really crap monster, you know, when it comes to gameplay. But the collectability on this card, I think, is very high for future potential. Moving on here, I talked about this card in one of my previous videos, Ghost Fairy Alphobia. This is a really awesome card. This is a solo print, super rare from an old school scat, Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy. Again, the effect and playability isn't really there, but the artwork is just so phenomenal on this card. I love her dress. I love her boots. I love her magic staff. I like how like there's like the dead kind of like soul eating trees here in the background. It kind of reminds me of like Sleepy Hollow or something like that. And then the hawk, crow, bird, whatever you want to call it here. It just looks really sinister and dark, and you know the black and the red and the coloring. It's a very dark card. It kind of reminds me of like, again, I don't know, like zombie, Sleepy Hollow, something kind of like a spooky theme thing, which I totally have a thing for kind of like horror based looking things, and you'll kind of see here on these next few cards. But it's really cheap right now. It's dried up a little bit. I think the last time I covered it, I want to say there was a fourth page. Um, I don't really think that people really know about this. To my understanding, I'm really the only person talking about this, or that have talked about this that I'm familiar with, because I kind of like to kind of spread out my content and kind of do different themes and categories in my videos. Outside of just purely like, you know, meta market watchers, I try to kind of get under the skin and bones of things. But anyway, like I'm saying, this one specifically, this is all about artwork. I think she just, you know, Ghost Fairy has phenomenal artwork, and it is a solo print, super rare. Of course, you're going to want to go for the first editions. They are still really cheap, $0.25 over here. But there's only 3 pages left, so I specifically put here, well, only 3 pages because I specifically put 3 or more near mint lightly played, of course, as it is a really significantly cheap card, so you're going to want to go with sellers that have multiple copies, so you can actually check out, you know, and all that stuff. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say about this. I really love this card. I think the artwork is phenomenal. I think eventually, as this card gets harder to find, I think its price will go up. Moving on here, talking about more like dark theme cards, we have Condemned Witch. Now I know this just came out in Soul Fusion, and I made a video earlier about this, talking about this card. This card, more specifically though, that's unique about this card, besides having extremely just badass, amazing artwork, a really dark themed artwork here, just really, really great. Its playability is amazing. This card lets you search out a fairy card from your deck, and that's just so generic. I know there is some people that have content on this card, and it's so cheap though, so that it has playability. It's super cheap, and its artwork is just killer. It just blows my mind. I have so many copies of this card. I intend on getting more. And it's just $2 for days. $2 for days. There's tons on the market. It just came out. I know that it's really easily accessible right now, but I think in a couple years, when Soul Fusion is considered an old set, this is going to be a highly sought out card. Not only for its playability, depending on where the meta goes with fairies, but with just the artwork and collector's value in general. Moving on here really quickly, I just wanted to take a note. Another card here, it's kind of one of my more obscure cards, kind of a little bit low priority. More so because it's going to be Necro World Banshee. Now, I know Zombie Horde was just the last previous deck before Soul Burner. This is a really, really new set still. And Necro Banshee is another one I'm gonna say. It's a female card. It's got killer, amazing artwork. It's just super rare, but it is a hollow. I don't discriminate when it comes to these kind of artwork collectors value potential market watches. I don't really discriminate against rarity. As you can see, there's a pretty big plethora. Majority of the stuff is secret. But cards like this, with this only being a solo print, they know this just came out, but um, the artwork is beautiful. You have all the floating souls over here. You actually have the Banshee herself in this nice like silk dress, and she's kind of like looking all like kind of dead-eyed into the abyss. And anyway, more specifically about this card is because it's going up in value. It is currently the highest priced card in all of the structured deck horde, which it wasn't always like that. I don't believe so. It's almost around hitting around 3 bones right now for this card, and there's only 4 pages. And for something that just came out, I know this wasn't a highly sought out set. I know there's kind of more hype anticipation in the new zombies deck than there actually was playability. I personally love this deck. I love zombies. I didn't care like at all about zombies until the structure deck came out, and as soon as we got these boss monsters and made the deck faster, I really started picking up zombies, and it's a really fun deck. I think it can be borderline competitive in the meta even now, depending on what you're playing and how well you know the deck and really how you get around things. But this card is going up in price. It is currently, like I said, it is the highest priced card of the Zombie Horde structure deck. You have your displayed decks and your structure deck, and then you have Banshee right here. So that is another pick from me. That is one of my personal picks. I think Necro Banshee is going to continue to go in value until it gets reprinted. Hopefully secret, because I love secret, and it would be really nice to see this card in secret. I really hope they don't reprint Ultra, because I'm not really a big fan of Ultra outside of Duelist Saga. Um, but yeah, I think it's great. And with this card specifically, it's its effect. You can just pop it off from a graveyard, from the field, and instantly slap out a zombie world, depending on what you're playing. And this really screws up Soul Burner, not Soul Burner. What is Salamangreats? When you pop this card off and you bust out a zombie world, it really messes with their extra deck, and they really can't get into a lot of their link plays with Zombie World on the field. And this card does what no other card in Yu-Gi-Oh has done. It allows you to just bust out so easily a field magic card, which is such a strong card depending on what your opponent is playing. And I think this is just such a powerful card. Has amazing artwork. There's only one print right now. More than likely, I'm sure we'll get a higher rarity later on. But as for now, I think that this is another just a good card for not only playability, um, but just the artwork is just fantastic. So I think it has potential to grow into the collector's market for artwork. One of the last cards I'm going to talk here, yeah, one of the last cards here I'm going to talk about here is Vampire Lord from Dark Crisis specifically. This card's kind of been reprinted to hell, but the secret rare, the original secret rare from the original generation, Dark Crisis, such a nostalgic and amazing old school set. The artwork is unbelievable. Um, this is just the secret foiling is just so deep, and the red and the black and the purple just comes off so well on this card. Of course, I'm specifically talking about the original print first editions, and they start off on the market around $13, and then they quickly move to 14 to 15. I'm on the second page here, because there isn't any first editions on the first page, of course. And then with the last page, it bottoming out around $25. And there's 5 of them from, of course, TCG. I love them. I buy from the store all the time. I just wanted to put that out there because, you know, really love their business. Anyway, so yeah, I just, again, this is, you know, it's got a pretty cool effect. It's not really playable. With it being a tribute monster only being 2,000, that's extremely weak and can be run over by essentially anything these days. Back in the day, this was such a busted card. It was so powerful. There was so much good history. In the original days of this game with this card, this was such an expensive blowout card. I remember wishing I had this card when I was a little kid. This card was like so expensive and popular, and it's really fallen out of fame. But its artwork and kind of the rarity of the original print first edition secrets, I think, is still going to keep through. And over time, as we continue to get further, even further, as super far away as we are from Dark Crisis already, one of the original sets, um, I think that its price is just going to continue to increase. So I would keep an eye on this card and collect as many as you can before it goes up. Last thing I wanted to talk about really quick was Red Eye's Retro Dragon. There's 3 prints. There's a common, and then a super rare, the original, which is the original print, if I'm not mistaken, Breakers of Shadow super rare, which is like nothing. It is super, super cheap right now. Doesn't have too much of a killer um, a killer effect. I actually found this card today. I'd never seen this card in my life. I had no idea about it. But it kind of took me by surprise. I took notice. I took notice of it because I was looking at kind of different hand traps, and I was trying to compile a list of all the hand trap cards, or as many as I could, to make a hand trap video for you guys, of all the hand traps, and kind of just, you know, set up a video with that. But and this kind of popped up because I guess its kind of trigger effect can be popped off, like a hand trap, and it's kind of like a really obscure hand trap that you don't really think being a hand trap. I guess it's not technically a hand trap because it doesn't disrupt your opponent, but its activation effect, you know, pops off from the hand. And I didn't really know about this card, and I think for what it is, you know, being the only hollow print, and, you know, Red Eyes players, you know, there's not as many Red Eyes players as there's Blue Eyes players, of course. But the people that play these decks are pretty hardcore Advent fans, and there is a lot on the market, but it's so cheap right now. So I mean, I think it's worth picking up at least a playset just to have, because who knows when this card is going to run dry, and then Red Eyes players get some really good support and they need this card, or they want to play this card, or whatever. So really quickly, I just wanted to kind of showcase that. But then again, that's pretty much all I'm going to say. I'm off to the sack now, so I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Again, thank you so much for watching. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! You love Yu-Gi-Oh! I just like to do these videos to share this information for you guys. I hope it helps you guys. You guys have a fantastic night, and I'll catch you in the next video.